Hey, what's going on, people? It's Ronnie, and welcome to News to Science, where we discuss comics, movies, games, and more. I know it's been about a couple days since my last video, but today I've decided to make a video on the Avengers Beta game project. So Avengers Beta is out. Unfortunately, I don't have the Avengers Beta installed in my PlayStation 4 because I didn't pre-order it due to personal issues that I have going on right now. But aside from that, I actually want to address some of the concerns that a lot of people who have a lot of credibility behind them are talking about. And a lot of these concerns have been addressed, and a lot of these concerns are similar to mine. They align with mine, meaning that, I have a lot of fears and concerns about this game due to the fact of a couple of egregious aspects about this game, which is looting, mindless bashing and smashing and fighting, and just repetition. Like, a lot of those things have been addressed alone in the beta gameplay, and I fear that that's pretty much the whole gist of the game. That's going to be like the main aspect of the whole Avengers game, and I do not want this to be like an Anthem Destiny type of game, because honestly, I'll tell you this, I get bored of those games rather quickly. And if I do get bored, I'll just decide not to play it and just let it sit and collect dust in my bookshelves, honestly, and I won't play it anymore. But I don't want to feel that way about a game. I really want to be able to play this game and enjoy it and really like it. I really do. And that being said, this is by all means not my opinion, because remember, I have not played the game, I have not pre-ordered the game, I have not played the beta. I'm only simply addressing a lot of the concerns that have already come to light. These people who have uploaded videos, posted feedback and reviews of the beta, it's already been posted, and I'm here to address that now, because a lot of these concerns that these people are addressing align with the concerns that I have about this game. So let's go over first on this MMORPG article that I found on mmorpg.com, and I'll leave a link to the article so that way it shows that I cited my source, or my the article here. Excuse me. So let's first address the good, because we never want to be completely negative on the whole thing. Again, I do want to love this game. I really want to like it. I really want to enjoy it. I really have to talk about it. So I've largely enjoyed the moment-to-moment gameplay of what I've played so far. The individual Avengers are all distinct, but similar enough to be able to switch between fairly easily. And they all capture the essence of what makes them unique. Combat is a little button mashy, but I've seen a number of videos from players who have shown some of the more technical ways you can explore the combat systems, and I'm sure there will be more going on there once we have access to full progression trees and the launch of the game. We only got to experience a small sample of the story, but I really do like Crystal Dynamics' use of Kamala Khan as a protagonist as much in practice as I did concept. Kamala is the ultimate fan insert in the comics. What if all of us lived in the world where we were superhero fans, but those superheroes were actual living people in our world? That was Kamala Khan's life before she became a superhero herself. So, addressing the bad. Unfortunately, there's a lot of iffy stuff that's got me concerned about the Avengers, and what sticks out most to me is the itemization. This is sometimes I harp on with all of these games, and Avengers hasn't done anything to alleviate any of the natural apprehension going into launch. So far, itemization has been super weak. In most cases, you can just get away with pressing a button that slots in your best gear and be on your way. These items just don't really do a whole lot, and this includes legendary rarity items, at least from what we've seen so far. There is an additional exotic tier, which isn't dropping in the beta, so it's possible there will be some great build defining items coming out of exotics, and items need to be fun to chase in a game like this, and they just mostly feel inconsequential so far, and I don't really get excited about anything I pick up, and not just because it's a beta and I won't be keeping it. I'm also not sure what the point of playing the higher difficulty is at this point. Do you get more or better loot? I don't know. So there's also an absolute mess of currencies used to power up items that I have not even bothered to try and wrap my head around. And this is another thing that actually some people have addressed, or at least someone that I speak to on Discord has addressed, where a lot of the aspects, again, like I mentioned before earlier, they seem to be very egregious, and that's including like currencies or just menus. It does rather look confusing at times from what I'm seeing. I know I cannot exactly formulate a very solid opinion about it because I have not played the game, but I've seen enough gameplay from other people, from a lot of YouTubers that I follow, such as Young Yeah, which is something I'm going to play a clip from him in just about a minute or two. He did bring up a lot of aspects of the game that were completely egregious and just somewhat repetitive and just outright boring. And it's outstandingly bad, apparently. So I'm definitely going to go ahead and pull up that video in a second, but let me finish here with this article. So the experience also gets very samey very early. You mostly fight the same enemies in the similar areas, and maybe that's just the way they've constructed the beta, but it kind of got old already. See, there's one of my fears right there. It's been addressed where a lot of the areas, and remember, this game is not open world. You just go to the map and you select the areas you want to go, and they're just miniature open worlds. So these areas are not exactly vast or large in any way, but there's, I guess you can say, a substantial amount of space in these areas. But to me, from what I saw and from what the players have seen, these areas are quite underwhelming and in design, and very generic and boring from what it looks like. And I can agree, and I can definitely attest to that in some ways. Again, I have not played it, but I've seen plenty of gaming footage, and none of this screams, oh, hype. You know, I cannot wait to play this. I'm just gonna buy it because it's an Avengers game, and I do comic book themed based videos on this channel, and that's why I'm gonna buy it. And I definitely want to try it out myself. And if I don't like it, I'll probably get my money back. Hopefully, I'm able to return it. I don't know about GameStop's draconian return policies, but I'll see what I can do. Hopefully, I'm able to return it. If not, it'll be a waste of $60. On top of that, this is another topic. I hear that there's also microtransactions. So, you know, there's a $60 paywall already with this game, and there's microtransactions in it. And that's something that I did not want in this game. I wanted this game, as far as like the upgradability goes, I wanted to align I wanted it to align with like Batman Arkham Knight or the Batman Arkham series with Spider-Man, where the upgrades are available to you at no cost. So why do we have to pay for skins when we should be able to earn those by leveling it up or progressing throughout the main campaign of the game? So moving on, and then there's art style. I've made peace with it at this point. I just really don't think it does the game any favors. Going for a more realistic art style just begs the unfavorable comparison to the character's MCU counterparts, but it also reminds me of the pre-MCU games made in the past when these characters didn't have real life actors representing them in the role, and developers just kind of translated what they would look like in a more realistic art style. It's kind of a hit or miss when it doesn't have to be. I don't think CD needed to go full on cel shaded comic book style like Ultimate Alliance 3, but something closer to, say, Marvel Heroes would have yielded better results. So I can agree with that as well. I do believe the characters look kind of funny looking. They do look a little weird. It does seem a bit off even to this very day. And just keep in mind that the game's only a mere couple weeks away from its launch. They still have a lot of work to do. I really wouldn't mind another delay, let's say maybe 5 to 6 months, to get this game perfectly polished. And we getting the beta, and there's been a lot of like crashes, frame rate drops. The gameplay overall is kind of dull and generic from what it looks like. But I'll be able to formulate my true opinion once I play the game. I'm actually going to pre-order it in about a couple of days. Hopefully I'll be able to catch up to like the last few betas that's remaining in the month of August by then. So probably next weekend I'll be able to play a bit of the beta. But until then, this is all I can tell you. And then here's the ugly part. It's likely true that the beta is branched off of months old build at this point, but this is the version of the game that the studio decided to show off the world. On both consoles and PCs, it just doesn't run very well, and it's rife with bugs. My powerful system with a 2080 Ti manages to brute force it and run pretty okay for the most of the time, but I do get some drops, and it doesn't feel as smooth as it should be. People are all over having much worse luck than I am with less powerful rigs. In terms of bugs, I've dealt with tons of crashes and matchmaking that has been spotty or barely functional at best, but it just has not been good luck for the game on the technical side of things. So the rest goes into HDR, but we don't really need to get into that. So I really want to play a bit of a clip from Young Yeah. I don't think Young Yeah is ever going to see this video, but Young, yeah, I just want to play this because you actually do make some valid points. And based on, I did watch this video. This video is 28 minutes. I'm not going to play the whole thing, but I do want to play a piece of it so you can just get an overall understanding of where I'm coming from and where these people who are talking about the game are coming from, because these are two different people. This is a guy that wrote this article and addressed a lot of the concerns that people have about this game. And this is by Michael Bitton. So I'm going to go ahead and post the link to the article down in the description box below so you guys can check it out and read it for yourself. And also I'll post a link to this video so you guys can check out the video. It's a whole full-fledged, almost 30 minutes long. And Young Yeah really pretty much nails it. He addresses every single concern, everything he doesn't like about this game. And yeah, definitely check it out because this guy really does have a lot of credibility behind him. So let's go ahead and play a bit of a clip. And I'm going to start from the 340-minute mark, because here's where like he starts to address a lot of the concerns, where like the first 3 minutes, he talks about each of the individual playable characters and how they play and how they feel. And he actually does like them. But the rest of it just goes into like the criticism. And I wouldn't call it negative. It's just constructive criticism. And overall, he ends it by saying that this game needs more time before it's released, because right now it's not polished, and mind you, it's only about a couple weeks to its initial launch, and this game still needs a lot of work to be done. So let's go ahead and play it.
For combat itself, mechanically, it was solid enough. It was passable, though I did feel like over time it started to feel more and more generic, more mindless, more button mashy, at times really chaotic. And amidst all the chaos, there was a lot of jank involved, where mobility sometimes didn't feel quite right, or I didn't attack the right enemy when I wanted to. So especially in tight spaces where there's just like tons of enemies thrown at you, everything just kind of goes chaotic. It's hard to keep track of what's going on.
Exactly.
And eventually combat just kind of stopped feeling engaging. I felt like I was just going through this routine over and over and over again. Like I was just going through the motions rather than like really thinking about what enemies are doing. You know, I just felt like I could pull off the same combos over and over again. There are some considerations, like you have to hold down triangle to combat enemies with shields. Holding down triangle performs a heavy attack that takes shields down, and then you can like attack them with light attacks. There's some like dodging and parrying that you can do based on cues that the game presents to you. But generally speaking, I felt like I was just like mashing buttons a lot with the occasional kind of breaking shields and the like. I did feel like some of the special abilities that the Avengers have, you know, you can activate them by pressing the shoulder buttons and the like. The cooldown for those were way too long, so I wasn't using some of the more fun abilities as often as I would have liked. And also, enemy variety was lacking, which didn't help. A lot of them were just sort of samey-looking men in armor or robots, which were uninspired in design. Some enemies were kind of bullet spongy, you know.
All right, so, I mean, you get the point. He did address a lot of the concerns that I had and a lot of people have for this game. So, enemies, looting, grinding, mashing, button mashing, repetition, all that stuff. It's seemingly there in this beta, and it's going to be kind of like the overall main theme of the whole game. And you can clearly see that. The areas look underwhelming. The design looks pretty boring. The characters, they're just different skins in every single area. Every single area you're going in, you're just fighting your way through to a destination in an area. Like, they're just mini plots. These locations are just mini plots of an entire game. We don't have an idea of what the main plot of the entire game is yet, but from what I see, it's just go to an area, fight your way through, loot parts of the area while you're at it, button mash, cool off, just repetition and grinding. It's just egregious, and it's just incredibly boring and dull. And from what I'm seeing here, he's right. Young Yeah actually explained it and broke it down perfectly, and I couldn't agree more, honestly. But yeah, so I just wanted to address my concerns a little bit, and also, you know, address the concerns of the of these players, such as Young Yeah and the article writer, the person that wrote the article, Michael Bitton. It's not looking too good in my personal opinion, but aside from that, I'm still going to buy it. I'm going to buy this game and play it so I can formulate my own opinion, give my own review and thoughts on it, and just share with you and how I feel about it. And hopefully you guys can take this video into consideration and maybe, you know, provide your feedback. If you guys have played the beta and maybe you have a different opinion, or your opinion aligns with a lot of these reviewers, comment down below. Tell me what you think. If you didn't like it, you can go ahead and dislike it, but hopefully you don't dislike it because you think that these opinions are mine when they're not. I'm just kind of like agreeing with these opinions and, you know, these statements that people are making, and I respect them. I really do. I mean, Young Yeah, somebody that has a lot of credibility behind them. I read this article. It aligns with a lot of the things that Young Yeah was saying, and all in all, I mean, overall, it doesn't look too good, and I think this game does need a little bit of more work. But aside from that, I am gonna pre-order it next week. I think around Tuesday or Wednesday, and hopefully gain access to the beta, create an account with Crystal Dynamics, and then start playing the game itself. Maybe perhaps do a live stream on it. So you let me know your thoughts, guys, down below in the comment section. What are your thoughts? Are you excited to play the Avengers game beta? And if so, post your comments. And if you're not excited, post your comments as well. And whatever it is you have to say about this game, just post your comments down below and let me know. Anyways, guys, that's all I have for tonight. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next comic panel.